In this video, you're going to learn about the best new budget deck in ChampionsTCG. This is a fast-paced aggro deck. It can go quickly, building up huge stats on the board, winning games as early as turn 6. You can really just beat down the opponent super fast. My first playtest session for this deck, I was blown away. I thought, hey, let's give it a try. Maybe it'll work. And I just started winning every game. I mean, I couldn't believe how easily I was winning. It was really amazing, and so I knew, okay, I should make a video, I should explain this deck, because it's also quite affordable. It's actually a really good budget deck. The most expensive version that I've built is about $40, and you can sub out one card, get it down to 20 bucks. So really powerful, really affordable. What is it, though? Let me show you. Here's the deck. So I call this the Doom deck. Just a pretty lazy name, I guess, but you know, death creatures, soul reapers, so I call it the Doom deck. The strategy of this deck is simple. Our main focus is on getting value from the soul reaper keyword. So soul reaper means whenever any creature on the field dies, the soul reaper creature gets buffed +1/+1. So if you're able to play a Soul Reaper creature and then trade off other creatures, you can get those buffs right away, and you can build up a big board and really have those stats running out of control. And then if the opponent tries to use like a board clear or more removal, it just keeps strengthening your Soul Reaper even more. We take full advantage of this by also using Provoke, which, as you probably know, is the taunt style effect, defending your other creatures. So we can play a Provoke creature and then put the Soul Reaper creature behind it, so we can protect the Soul Reaper, making it where the opponent can't even target it, can't even attack it, and it just keeps ramping up. When they kill the Provoke creature, even that's going to buff the Soul Reaper. So Provoke plus Soul Reaper, surprisingly effective given how simple this strategy is. Let's look at some of the key cards that make this deck work. So first off, our Soul Reaper creatures, we got Vilegrub, we got Pazuzu, we got Nazur. Vilegrub is really, really strong because not only is it a 2-cost creature, but it's got 5 health. So the fact that it's able to ramp out of range of fungal spores, which destroys everything with 5 health or less, getting above 5 health really quickly is really valuable. And at only 2 energy, it's really easy to combine Vilegrub with other cards to get that immediate value, destroying some other stuff, getting Provoke in front of it. So Vilegrub can get really well defended, and it can ramp up to insane levels of stats. Pazuzu is a little bit less of a good deal in terms of stats for the energy cost because it costs 4, but that's not really because Pazuzu is bad. It's more that Vilegrub is just insanely good. So Pazuzu, I mean, listen, it's really, really strong in Arena, and I think it's still playable in a ranked deck like this. I've found it's good. We just need more Soul Reaper. We want to consistently be playing at least 1, maybe 2 or 3 Soul Reaper creatures in the first 5 turns of the game. And just having Vilegrub for the early game isn't quite enough. So we put in Pazuzu as well, get some extra opportunities to have those Reapers ramping out of control. And then Nazur with Soul Reaper 2 is our real big win condition guy. He's going to ramp up +2/+2 every time something dies. He's going to go to really big stats, and that's really your finisher to hit him in the face for, 12, 15, 20 damage or whatever. The sky is the limit. Nazur can be really strong. The 6 energy cost means that, yes, it's a little harder to combine it with stuff, but still really, really strong. I'd also like to mention why Apocalypse isn't in this deck. So the original version of this deck did use Apocalypse, but I find at 9 cost, the Soul Reaper 4, even though it's amazing when it works and it's very exciting to get a huge creature. I mean, I've had my Apocalypse go up to, 40 plus attack pretty easily. It's just too vulnerable to getting hexed or otherwise destroyed, maybe by a Slay or just any of the keywords that can answer a big stat creature. And worst of all, it's really bad if they Quantum Shift and they steal your Apocalypse. Because it costs 9, it's only playable if you already have the board. If you don't have creatures on the board, Apocalypse is just a sitting duck. And I found that this deck is so aggressive and so fast-paced that at 9 cost, Apocalypse is just a bit too slow, a bit too conditional. It's mostly good if we're already ahead, and we can really just get what we need out of Nazur or even Vilegrub and Pazuzu. So I chose to run the Cycloniuses instead, because if we do fall behind, Cyclonius helps us catch back up. It's much better from behind. And also, if we get close to winning, but we don't have lethal damage, sometimes Cyclonius will give us the last damage we need to win the game outright. So you could try Apocalypse, but it really wasn't working for me when I tried it. Unfortunately, because it's like the really fun Timmy card that kind of inspired the deck in the first place. Next up are Provoke stuff. So Boldo at a 1 cost for 0/7 Provoke is really strong. The only weakness with Boldo is that it does just die to Hydroblast. So anything with Hydroblast counters Boldo. If there's a lot of Hydroblast in the meta, maybe I'd consider not running Boldo. But usually people only run like a little bit of Hydroblast. So I think Boldo is still playable. And it's really, really nice for 1 energy to have that big Provoke just to give you a turn to keep your Soul Reapers alive. Then Timberfawn, it's in the starter deck. It's one of the strongest 2-drops in the game. Not only is it a 3/5 stats when you play it, but then when it dies, it shatters and creates 2/2/2 Provoke Ice Cubes. And so the ability to spawn Provoke when it dies, which also means Timberfawn dies, that activates Soul Reaper, and then when either of the Ice Cubes die, they also activate Soul Reaper. So you're getting multiple creature kills along with the Provoke value. Timberfawn just absolutely excellent in this deck. And really, Timberfawn can fit into pretty much any deck in the game. It's just such a powerful, combination of good tempo and good value. So Sluggernaut, this is a card that it's 4/9 and Provoke for 3 energy. The stats plus the Provoke keyword is such an insane value package for 3. But in a lot of decks, just because of Quantum Shift and Hex and other keywords, in a lot of decks, Sluggernaut just doesn't get played anyway. But in this deck, it is glorious. Finally, a deck where Sluggernaut really fits in and clearly gets value. One of the best things about this deck is just having an excuse to run Sluggernaut, because, I want this card to work in every deck, and it's always amazing when it doesn't, but in this deck, it actually does. Sluggernaut is super good, and that really completes our Provoke package, having Boldo, Timberfawn, and Sluggernaut really takes this deck to the next level. And then one more set of cards to pay attention to is our removal package. So maybe this is too much. I don't know. Maybe I should even have it more aggressive and not run all this. But we've got 1 copy of Stubby with the cheap Tsunami just to get some board clear in case we fall behind early. And then Fungorth and Sangor with those bigger board clears in case we have a really bad start. Those can sometimes get us back in it. Also, if we have Soul Reaper and our Soul Reaper is above 5 health, then Fungorth is amazing because it can clear out a bunch of other creatures, which only ramps our Soul Reaper further. Like I said, you could always try running even less removal because it is an aggro deck, but in the Champions meta, I've found a little bit of, AoE removal, come back from behind stuff tends to be pretty good. So you have some hope if you have a bad opening. But yeah, it might be worth playing around with this. Maybe not all these cards need to be in there. I don't know. It seems pretty good to me. So, like I mentioned at the start of the video, at the time of me recording this, this entire deck only costs $40, and that's really, really good price for a competitive deck in any card game. You can also sub out the Vrooms if you want, because that's most of the it's like half of the deck's cost at least. It's like $18 for a playset of Vrooms. You could try running another Provoke, maybe another Soul Reaper, something else instead of the Vrooms just to make the deck a little cheaper. You could also run a cheaper combustion card like Fyron or whatever else is out there. There's options. So yeah, Vroom could be subbed out. With that said, I think Vroom is really nice for this deck, just getting you lethal, more damage to face, or helping you get back on the board if you fall behind. Vroom is really good. It's a very, very versatile card, very strong. Now that I've explained the basics, let's jump into a featured match. Let's see this deck in action. And of course, if you're watching right now, smash that subscribe button, like and subscribe, baby. All right, here is the featured match. Let's go. All right, turn 1, I got Boldo, or I can use the Lily to play one of my 2-drops. We could just play the Vile Grub right away, but I think what I want to do here is play Timberfawn first. Timberfawn is really, really strong, and then we'll set up the Vile Grub. We'll probably play Vile Grub on turn 3 along with the Boldo. That's probably the plan. So turn 2, maybe a Spriggan. Turn 3, Vile Grub and Boldo. We're going to try to get this Soul Reaper behind some Provoke. We also might get to sacrifice Timberfawn and get those cubes. That's what we're looking for in this opening. Yeah, so they play Astraling, and we have a second Vile Grub. We could try playing the first one right away. It's not going to get stolen by Quantum Shift or anything. I could play Vile Grub, attack Astraling with Timberfawn, and that's a pretty strong setup. Otherwise, we just play Spriggan. Yeah, let's try the Vile Grub line. So Vile Grub, bop that. We're down to 1 health. Just pass, leave the White Lily where it is. Now, they could attack the Vile Grub, get it down to 1 health, but we also have the backup, so that's fine. Let's see if they have AoE. Let's see. 2 eggs. I thought they were going to have Tsunami, but they don't. If they had Tsunami, the Fawn would die. It would spawn some cubes. Oh, they win. That was a coin flip. 50-50 for them to steal the Vile Grub. They win the coin flip, but we're still okay to follow our plan. Play Vile Grub, play Boldo, kill their Vile Grub so it doesn't get to ramp. And then we'll kill their air egg so they can't get an early Cyclonius or anything else. That's basically what I want to do. And we got some good stuff with the Bofa, the Sangor, the Nazur. So we got some good stuff coming up as well. So we'll play that. We'll kill that. Got a 4-7 Vile Grub. Now we kill their egg. They had the highest roll possible with the 6-3. RNG not being kind to us right now, but still a strong board in spite of that. Now we'll see if they have an evolution for the Cosmic Egg. But in spite of some subpar RNG with that Comedy hatch, we're still feeling okay. So this is the Hydroblast killing the Boldo. Like I said in the description, Boldo is vulnerable to that. That's okay, though. I think we're okay. Yep, they kill 1 cube, they kill the 2nd cube, but look at Vile Grub, 8-11. They can't steal it. They really need Hex or Slay or something to answer this now. We don't have another frontline, a Provoke. I wish we had Provoke here. But since we don't, we have to make it work. So we basically have Astro and Spriggan. That's basically the play. Bofa not really getting value here. So Astro and Spriggan, and then it's just a question of what we buff the health on. I'm actually inclined to buff Fuku's health, because that way we'll keep Fuku alive longer. Otherwise, I could buff Astro. Those are basically our 2 options. We definitely want to play Astro. I don't know. I really want to keep Vile Grub safe from quantum shifts and stuff. We'll see. We're a bit vulnerable to AoE this way. But I think if we just kill Comedy... And then it's like, we have to ask ourselves, are we going to defend or are we going to go face? We both have 3 cards left. I mean, in a spot like this, I think we just go face. I don't know. We could kill Quacka. We could kill Quacka or we can go face. Those are the 2 main options here. I guess I'm actually going to kill Quacka. Maybe going face would be better, though. I'm not 100% positive how I feel about that. And I'm actually going to sacrifice the Lily to get this to 9. A little defense against Fungal Spores if they trade in Astraling. Our Vile Grub will have 6 health at that point because it gets buffed again. So trying to play around everything, right? Trying to play around Slay, trying to play around Quantum Shift. Mainly playing around Quantum Shift. There's not too much we can do about Hex or Slay other than just having more threats and continuing to fight. So now we're getting into a very strong spot here. We can play Nazur next turn, but this turn we have the big Fungorth play. We can clear out pretty much their whole board. Let's start by bopping the egg with the Astro. 1-1, nice. Yep, so we can do this now. We can hit this. Might as well go face with the Spriggan because it's about to die. And then we'll just play Fungorth. This is going to kill their board. But it keeps the Vile Grub alive. So now we have 17-15. And you can see how, even though they stole one of my early Vile Grubs, the second one is on the board strong as hell. I've got these 2 guys above 5 health, so they won't die to Earthquake or Fungal Spores. They finally get a Hex. So that is the best way to answer our Soul Reapers with Hex. We've already got Nazur ready to go, though. Only trick is, if I want to play Nazur here, I would have to sacrifice all my other creatures, and that doesn't seem like a great idea. I think we're going to do a Bofa play now. Not the greatest spot I've ever seen, but I think this is how we want to do it, is Astro and Joyfei trading in, Fungorth going face, and then Bofa evolving Fungorth, getting another Fungal Spores, killing Blightoos. We just want to set up a board that has some creatures already on it. So once we play Nazur, he doesn't get stolen. So they were able to answer the Vile Grub finally, but we've got him down to 31 health. We have the tempo advantage. We have a similar amount of cards besides that. So it's not the easiest match, but we're still demonstrating pretty strong value, pretty strong, just strength. The strength of the deck is manifest here. It is very clear. They are tanking. Did they give up? Maybe they've, I don't know. Maybe we've intimidated them. They're too afraid to play any cards. They might have just ran away. They're too afraid to continue. The fear is too strong. They got hit with the Dementors from Harry Potter, and they're just afraid. There's nothing more they can do. I guess they gave up. A little counter, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit anticlimactic, but yeah. In that case, I wouldn't even play any more Soul Reaper right now. I just play Barry Kane, get the draw, hit him in the face. I kind of wish they kept fighting so we could have had the, you know, the end game. But what would have happened there most likely is we would have gotten Azor out, gotten some value, and built this up into yet another big one. Look, we have 3 Soul Reapers in the hand. This match, I drew 5 of my 6 Soul Reapers in the top 13 cards of the deck, which is actually more than we want, probably. If anything, that was a bit much, but that was a unusual RNG. Oh, they came back. They came back. I mean, it's too late now. I don't know what happened last turn. But you can tell that early game was perfect. The big thing with this deck is the early game. If you're able to get those big Soul Reapers, that's like the big thing. Now they're starting to fight back. Too bad they disappeared for a turn. Just kind of messed up the flow of the match. But yeah, we are pretty much good. I think here we'll just do the play. Sluggernaut, Pazuzu. Still keeping the same basic principle. Provoke in front. Soul Reaper in back. We're almost at lethal. But no need to be sloppy here. Hit him down to 4. I don't think we're going to trade in anymore. I'm at this point where if I draw Cyclonius, that immediately wins me the game, because it does 8 damage to their face. This is exactly why we run Cyclonius. Apocalypse wouldn't really give us an extra advantage here, whereas Cyclonius is a guaranteed win as soon as we draw it, unless they're able to heal back up. Should be about to win. They do have Charlene with the huge Earthquake. Pazuzu just survives. There are some shenanigans with the way Soul Reaper interacts with AoE removals, so sometimes your Soul Reaper will survive when maybe it seems like it shouldn't. Enjoy it while you can, because it'll probably get fixed eventually. But yeah, there you go. That was a great feature match. The opening was a great example. They stole one of my Vile Grubs, but I was able to kill that, ramp up the other one, and we got into a really strong spot. They did have Hex, which let them eventually take care of my second Vile Grub, but by then we were already ahead on tempo and equal in value with a strong position. They did miss a turn there, so a little bit odd in the end game, but still, that was a great demonstration of how this deck plays. I think if you try this deck, you will be really impressed. I think it is even better than the starter deck, and the starter deck is pretty good, the new and upgraded starter deck, but I think this one's even better. So if you're on a budget, if you're looking for a good deck to get those wins, try this one. And with that said, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all soon. Flux signing out.